Spat everywhere. 20.2, second workout of the 2020 CrossFit Open season. This is a slightly different setup, as you can see, and if it looks like we're not looking at the camera, it's because we've got some information written here. What do you think of this one, bro?
I got to watch it firsthand, but I didn't get to do it, so Craig just finished up.
Yeah, I just did it, that's why I look disgusting.
And it didn't look too hard up until he hit about round
Nice.
14.
Good save.
And you kind of went down from there.
Yeah, it's not disgusting, it's a long workout, which is annoying, especially for guys doing it today when we've only got 2 pairs of 50s, 2 pairs of 35s, and 2 pairs of 20s, so we're going to do 6 people on for 20 minutes. So later, just if you want to come and do it between 10 or 9 and 11, if you want to come in early and do it, I'm going to be in if you want to come in and get your judging early so there's not queues later. Otherwise, it's probably going to take us about an hour and 40 minutes, maybe 2 hours to get through. Thanks, Dave Castro. But yeah, it's not a terrible workout. It's long, and you never get to a point where, I never got to a point where I was just like, oh my God, this is terrible, I'm going to die. It was more like a slow and gradual death, like someone just slowly whipping me until I died, which was about 14 minutes in. But yeah, my target was, I didn't have a target for rounds, I just had a target for what I thought I could hold for the per round time, which was 1:10. I did a warm-up round, it was a little bit aggressive, so I decided to go over a minute 10 per round, which was good up until like round 14, or minute 14, which I think was round 13. And then I lost the pace, I had to take a couple of extra 10-second breaks in between. So yeah, it's not terrible, just pace yourself well. The workout itself, do you want to read through it?
So the workout is 20.2, 20-minute AMRAP, as many rounds as possible, 4 dumbbell thrusters, 6 toes to bar, and 24 double unders. Dumbbell thrusters are 50 pounds for the guys and 35 for the ladies?
Correct.
Yep.
And then the scaled version of that is thrusters, knee raises, so hanging knee raises, knee come above the hip,
and
single skips for the same rep, but the men's weight's 35 and the ladies' weight's 20. Should we hit the scaled and RX first? Like the reason why you would?
Absolutely.
Is it's a 20-minute workout. If you can only do 5 toes to bar in your life, then by the time you get through round 3, you're already on 18 toes to bar. So toes to bar is going to be a massive limiter for this workout. I would highly suggest if you don't have more than like 18 to 20 toes to bar in a workout, not necessarily unbroken, then you consider scaling this workout. I think you'd get much more work done. It'd be a much better workout for you. You could probably punch out 15, 20, 25 scaled round if you're a fit guy that doesn't have these movements.
Absolutely.
And of course the double unders. If you don't have double unders, 24 per round, if you get through 10 rounds, that's 240 double unders. 15 rounds, that's 360 double unders. It's a big requirement for you. There's no point doing 5 RX rounds of this workout when you could do 15 or 20 scale rounds this workout. You get a much better workout in, unless you're just hungry for that score on the leaderboard. In that case, you can do a crappy RX score and beat all the guys that crushed it in scale.
You don't want to be spending 4 or 5 minutes just staring at the ropes, smashing your shins, and
looking like a tiger attacked you.
Yeah. Spazzing dolphins.
Baby penguins. So many animal references.
Yeah.
Warm-up, what have you got?
Warm-up. So a good way to go through the warm-up is to think about how to break down the movements. So we put up a small warm-up for you guys. You're going through about 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off of skipping. So take your time to go through some good quality single unders. Practice your double unders if you're very, very confident, and going through some hip stretches. So one of the hip stretches can be straddle stretch, sitting down on the ground, feet out wide, and or bended hip hinge, so you can wrap a band around the rig, take a couple steps out, goes around your hip, and then reach for your toes. After you're done with that, you can go through 2 rounds of 10 to 15 hollow rocks or V-ups. Some goblet squats, again look at about rep range of 10 to 12 goblet squats. Some dumbbell push press, so practicing those shoulder to overhead with a little bit more of an awkward movement than a barbell. And then again, going through your double unders, making sure that you're confident, smooth, and ready to go through that. Do practice a warm-up round. Craig did do that, and it changed the strategy about how significant it was those 10 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. So once you've done your warm-up, practice a round, do a full round. So go through 4, 6, 24 at the pace you think you're going to do the workout. Stop and look at the clock and go, okay, that took me 1 minute and 10 seconds. I was planning on doing 1:15 per round. That's gonna not last for 20 minutes. I should move it to 1:30. So use that A to feel the workout, and then just have a gauge on how long a round's going to take you, and then you can build your strategy out from there. If you look, reverse engineer it as well, it's 20 minutes, so you can go, okay, my target is 10 rounds, then it's 2-minute rounds, 12 rounds is minute 40 rounds, 50 rounds is minute 20, if you're going for 20 rounds, that's a minute round. Obviously, you can just kind of divide your target by 20 minutes by your target rounds, and that'll give you a per round time. Just for some numbers, I just thought this might be interesting. If you do 10 rounds, that's 40 thrusters, 60 toes to bar, 240 double unders. 12 rounds is 48, 72, 288. 15 rounds is 60 thrusters, 90 toes to bar, 360 double unders. And if you get 20 rounds, that's 80, 120, and 480. So a lot of reps in 20 minutes. So that 15 round, if you're, yeah, I think 15 rounds, that's 90 toes to bar. Do you have the capacity to be able to do 90 toes to bar? It's a lot of work.
Yeah, absolutely. And for some people, the lighter guys out there, like me, 90 toes to bar may not be too bad, and the 60 dumbbell thrusters might be the problem, or the double unders, depending on how skilled you are.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely 360 jumping up and downs is a lot. So dumbbell thrusters, first movement, I think the main takeaway of this is it's not too heavy if you think about it as a barbell movement, like 100-pound thrust is not too bad. When you convert that into 2 dumbbells, where you've got 2 loose objects on your shoulders, it's very, very different. So picking them up feels very different. Resting them on your shoulders, taking them overhead feels very different, especially as you get tired. Like for me, 50-pound dumbbells aren't too heavy, but after 14 minutes, they were all over the place. I was like wobbling on the bottom of the squat, the hands were going all over the place as I was going overhead. It gets really wobbly as you get tired, so everything becomes less stable. And then picking the dumbbells up, if you're doing 10 or more rounds of this, you've got 10 dumbbell power cleans or squat cleans as well. So think about, where do you stand? If you've got the feet, if you've got the dumbbells on the floor, are they outside of your feet? Are they inside of your feet? Can you start in a squat stance and pull them straight into your first squat and then bang out your first rep? Think about all that stuff, because that stuff will help you when you get started. If you're going to take a 10-second break before you start your next round, stand over your dumbbells, put your feet in the right position. Don't want to be wasting time cleaning it, having to step into position, and then wasting that time on that first rep. Toes to bar.
Toes to bar.
Najib's a gangster at toes to bar.
Toes to bar. Don't try to close a big gap. Don't let your feet go around too far. Take advantage of being as efficient as possible. So competition gymnastics versus training gymnastics. Competition, you want to go knees to chest, kick up to the bar, shorten the range of movement as much as possible. Kick up. You got to look like that, exactly. And yeah, you want to save your abs as much as possible to be able to control. And we didn't talk about this, but again, from dumbbell thrusters, a lot of core stability.
Yeah.
Straight into toes to bar. That's a lot of work, and that's a lot of fatigue in your core, especially if you're not Craig.
No, it was even rotating the core. And with your toes to bar efficiency, so I broke them up. I don't have an amazing toes to bar capacity, it's one of my weaker movements. So I broke up from the very first round, 3 reps, 2 reps, 1 rep. I would not recommend, unless you're Najib or Parker, or Charlie maybe, doing sets of 6 from the start. It seems like a good idea because it's only 6, but like I said, if you're doing 10 rounds, that's 90 toes to bar. If you were going to do 90 toes to bar for time, how would you break out from the start? So don't go 6, 6, 6, 6, like, unless you're Najib or Parker or Charlie. Go 3, 3 at most, I would say. 3, 2, 1 worked really well. You also have the option of doing 2, 2, 2, and don't underestimate the speed of singles. If you do touch, drop, something that G mentioned a minute ago was not pausing at the top.
Yeah, a lot of people tend to pause at the top or try to re-swing, or they come down, they swing, they try to control. That's a lot of wasted time. So come off the bar, take a second, get back on the bar, and make sure that every rep counts. Don't try to fight mistaken reps or bad reps.
A lot of time with your hands on the bar, so that's going to contribute towards fatigue of the shoulders, fatigue of the hands, and everything like that. For the double unders, I think, again, everyone's probably going to underestimate, if you have double unders, how difficult this is. I think I tripped on about maybe 4 or 5 of the rounds. You just got to try as best, and everyone says this, is recover on double unders. I don't necessarily agree with that. If you have double unders and you can breathe and practice breathing and moving steadily through them, then definitely try to recover on the double unders. But for some people, double unders becomes super tiring and super taxing, and you get very, very, very tired and very out of breath doing them, then don't be afraid to break them up. Like, you could go 12 and 12, or even like 10, 10, 4, whatever it is, or whatever allows you to keep your heart rate nice and low. Because if you blow up on those 24 and then you take an extra 10 seconds to start your next round, then that screws up your whole plan. So breathe, try and stay calm, nice wrist movement, not shoulder movement, and try and and don't be afraid to break it up if you want. Okay, so to summarize for that, 20-minute AMRAP, 4 dumbbell thrusters, 6 toes to bar. Dumbbell thrusters, think about how you pick them up. It's only 4, I'd suggest most people should be able to go unbroken on the dumbbell thrusters, so have that as your plan. Toes to bar, don't be afraid to break them up, so 3 and 3 from the start, or 3, 2, 1 unless you're Najib. And double unders, same thing. Try and stay calm and breathe through your double unders, or you're not great at double unders, don't be afraid to break them up. 24 is not a huge amount, but it'd be so much easier doing 12, 3-second break, 12. Looking forward to seeing you guys crush this one.
Enjoy it.
I was watching the time and getting like, oh.
Speed up, wrap up, wrap up, wrap up.